that brings us to the next question.
Yep.
Do you keep outside? Anything do you keep outside other than your
Yep.
shingleback?
Yep. Yeah, I've probably kept outside my whole life. My bearded dragons. I live in a bearded dragon mecca. I live in blue tongues, shinglebacks. Gidgee skinks are native to me. A whole heap of small tenephorous dragons are. So for a big part of my reptile life, I've had reptiles outside in big natural pits.
Yeah.
For probably the best part of 20 odd years.
You find it's better?
Look, it's fucking easier. Like,
yeah.
It's easier. Like, you still have to feed them, but, people don't realise, but reptiles in the wild survive off fuck all. In captivity, we overfeed the shit. Yeah, we overfeed the shit out of our reptiles. Like, literally, my blue tongues go out, like, they're outside all year round, but they sort of go down in, probably April. They start switching off. They stop eating in March, end of March. They go down in April.
Yeah.
And they're out every day, but they won't eat at the moment. They won't eat at all. And then they won't eat until August. Or if it's a gravid female, she probably won't eat until, September.
That's
after she's been mated. So, you're talking 4 or 5 months. And the dragons are the same as well. I mean, they're opportunistic feeders, even in a cooler climate. Like if a grasshopper or something lands in the cage, then there's a good chance it's going to be eaten. But that's 1 meal and it's easy to digest at a certain temperature, They just need that sun on their backs and they're good to, digest 1 bug or 2 bugs and that's all they need. But majority of my stuff shuts down and doesn't eat for pretty much 5 months of the year.
So people that don't know, Australia is obviously a different hemisphere to where we are in the UK and in America. So when you're saying April to August, that's obviously your winter for people.
So it starts in autumn, mid to late autumn, they start slowing down and stopping, and then they don't feed until spring.
What sort of temperatures are you getting, like during the day and at night, just as an average throughout that period?
So daytime probably high of 18 degrees Celsius, maybe 20 on a real good winter's day.
Yeah.
But overnight, anything down to -4.
Oh, fucking hell, that cold.
Yeah, because I'm in the desert, so we can get, that low. So, sort of mid-June, July, it's fucking freezing.
So
and daytime temps to be around 13 to 15 degrees then.
Okay, so my brain now is going, like, I could be wrong, so let me just sort of voice it, then you can go, "Now you're an idiot, mate," or you can go, "Yeah, you're right." -4 is obviously too cold for a beardie, so I'm assuming they have like some sort of hibernaculum where it's a slightly warmer. So the beardie's not sleeping at -4. The beardie like at 0.
Yeah. My bearded dragons sleep out in the open, mate. They sleep out in the open, or they sleep in the water bowl. Yeah, because it's not -4 all day. It's only -4 for like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
But see, they sleep in the water bowl sometimes because water holds a certain temperature, and it's generally warmer than body temperature. So they get in the water and they know that they're not going to get the big swings, and they sleep in the water bowl sometimes.
That's
out
mad.
in the shit. This is what I say to people. For me to hibernate a beardie, it's easier. Just put them outside.
We could do that because it's very rare we get colder than -2. But the problem is,
snow.
The problem is our cold doesn't warm up. It's -2 for 24 hours.
No. You couldn't do it then. You'd freeze them.
Yeah.
So ours get like that. Like what people don't understand is my cages are mainly all north facing. So for 4 to 6 hours of the day, they're getting some sort of sunlight, right? And my cages now, I've got the ones that I've got the dragons and the blue tongues in are suspended off the ground. They're fine on the ground, but just it was a shit spot to have a cage, so I just elevated them off the ground. And the floor would get to probably 15 to 20 degrees, and they just lie out in the sun, get a couple of hours of sunlight, and then you don't see them. But come June, July, they go and they've got boxes tucked to the back of their cages where they can get high and dry, and you don't see them at all.
Yeah.
The cages are dormant.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. They find their little hibernaculum. They find a little spot with slightly warmer, more consistent. Yeah.
So in the wild, they'd go under tin and at the bottom of trees where there's a lot of bark. They burrow down in the bark and dig a bit of a hole and then put the bark over them, and the bark's a good insulator.
Yeah.
I mainly find that reptiles do fantastic outside as long as they're not wet and cold at the same time.
Yes.
That's when you start getting issues. But bearded dragons are probably the exception to the rule, especially in South Australia.
Yeah, they don't give a shit. They do what they want.
Yeah, well, I would say that the adults in the wild will probably burrow down and follow like a salt bush down.
Yeah.
And they'd be down in that burrow and they'd see it out in winter. But the ones in my cages, like occasionally the girls will dig down, but the males, they just sleep out in the open, mate. They don't give a shit.
That's so like I'm not saying to anyone recommend doing this because I'm just thinking, but like if I flipped my cycle, I could winter my bearded dragon in the summer here outside because we average about 18 degrees, 20 degrees a day, and then get down to like 8 to 10 degrees at night. And then obviously if I keep them hot as balls in the winter inside, then in theory you could keep your bearded dragon outside for 4 months of the year.
So in America, certain states, they breed them all year round.
Just outside?
Inside, but they just work the cycle so that the young ones start to hit their cycle and they start cycling the young ones. And by that time, the adults have finished, so that they've always got success.
Yeah.
That's like proper bearded dragon breeders in America.
I see what you're saying. Just hello quickly. Hello, Ben. Thank you very much. And Jonas is saying that's why I freeze my ass off when my monitor sleeps. He throws a jacket on in his room. So my room gets down. Will, I'm so early. You're late. It's not early. My room gets to like. I think the cold. Obviously, I've only recently moved here, so I'm still learning my room. But my room gets to about 15 degrees. In winter, so obviously at night. So I don't even need to worry. 15 degrees for a Datria. No. Like, we talking Kimmies, Ackies, Gillanai, Beardies. 15 degrees, not too cold, just for a nighttime. And it would only be 4 or 5 hours. It won't be.
Gil and I cop the same temperatures as bearded dragons. They're only 70k up the road from me. Gil and I, so they're pretty much where I'm from. Ackies can handle colder climates because they're from the desert where it swings big. Your Kims probably need, 18 degrees.
Okay, slightly. Kimmies are slightly warmer.
Yeah, because they come from the northern end of Australia, and most of the time they're on rocky escarpments, so they can sort of pick their pleasure along, their temperature along that rocky escarpment. North facing in the morning, and just pick,
sun.
Yeah, that's right. And those rocks are like an oven. Even in winter, big rocks still warm up with sunlight on them.
Yeah.
So I basically don't let my kids go under 18 degrees.
Because I remember you telling me, because I run a deep heat on mine overnight.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, because I remember you telling me don't let your Kims get cold. Bearded dragons chilling in water bowls at -4. Oh no, it's a madness. Welcome to Australia, the land down under. The animals don't care. But yeah, so obviously you're not saying to people freeze your lizards, but
no, I'm not. I'm just saying they do it.
People don't realize that because I talk to people and they go, oh, I don't let my bearded dragon get, or let's just say Ackie monitor, because beardies and Ackies get lumped with the same care. I don't let my beardie or my Ackie get colder than 22 at night, and they run a ceramic. And I'm like, no, you're drying out the enclosure because the ceramic just burns off all that little bit of humidity that's in there anyway. So you're running at like 15% humidity. And then 2, they need a drop. Like, just leave them to get cold,
Yeah, so I'll say this first. So bearded dragons are similar to Ackies with the care, right? Temperatures, similar. But the difference is bearded dragons, for the best part,